Well, it's going to cause your body to like adapt, and your body's going to go, oh my God, this is crazy.
Air! That 90-mile-per-hour winds could be a thing. Again, as beautiful as all it is, and I'm taking in Pikes Peak in all her glory, I am also taking out the element the moment I realize that I'm in, like, suburbia Mecca. And how's this dude be moving, though?
Yeah, they do. Like, I know people in Colorado love to camp, which is cool. Like camping in the passing lane.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
My heavens, bro.
I need to talk to you from the perspective of a marketing lie. Come to Colorado Springs, 300 days of sun. Are we synchronizing?
Welcome. Colorado is not for everybody, specifically Colorado Springs, and I'm here with a friend who also happens to be a client, former client, Randy Vasquez, and he just moved to Colorado Springs about 6 months ago. And I've asked him, Randy, I need to know, well, some people need to know, what do you wish that you would have known before you moved here? So I had to make a little list. He has made said list. I have yet to see said list, and we're going to kind of go through them. And this is really interesting because he has lived on the East Coast. That's where he moved here from, Virginia, right?
Yep.
And then he has also lived in San Diego.
Founded by the Germans.
San Diego?
Stay classy, San. If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
I don't know. So he's got the breadth of experience. He's in the military, moved around all over the place. So him and his family are here now, and he has he tried to dabble and give me some of the things, but I don't want to know. So we're just gonna hop right into it. We've got 15, I think, is what he said.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live, baby. So
Let's
we've got
do this.
15 things. We're gonna count them down. Let's start number 15.
Number
Hit it,
15.
baby.
So the first thing, starting not only number 15, but also letting you know the first thing that I noticed, the altitude. It really messed me up when I got here. And it took about a month. I still struggle. And one thing, as a viewer of the show and as a friend and all the leading up to moving here, I've learned there is no preparation for it. You get into it. I tried holding my breath before I moved from humid Virginia. I could be ready now. It messed me up.
Like just doing breath work.
I was doing anything I could to see taking less oxygen. And it took about a month and before those red blood cells started really flaring back up again. And
Did you feel, so you came out here to visit before, did you feel it, that 3 or 4 day trip that you came? Okay.
No. And I've been here, so I've been to specifically Colorado Springs. I've been here now 3 times before the final move. And each time, never felt it. And my longest stint here was maybe about 5 to 7 days. Never felt it. And you don't feel it immediately. Well, at least I don't.
Yeah.
Some people do.
Some people do, yeah.
I didn't. My wife didn't. Some of my friends did. But after around week 2, I just started getting dizzy. And I got a kid. I got a 1-year-old. So I'm going up and down my stairs and I'm like, I'm ready for the incline. I could do 15 steps. I could do 2,000.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've known people that have their parents have come to visit for 3, 4, 5 days, and their parents have left. They came, got altitude sickness, and bounced. So Colorado Springs, Denver is the mile high city because it is at 5280, right? But here we are over 6,000 feet, and then as you go up to Black Forest, because it actually kind of goes like this. Black Forest is over 7,000 feet.
That's nuts. Where we're at here, our property is actually higher than most of Colorado Springs.
What is it here?
I think it's over 64. And because I logged that. I saw that, and I was like, oh, let's look in the Powers area.
6579.
Called it.
That's where we are. Thanks, Garmin.
Yeah.
Not sponsored. Wish we were. Anywho, okay, so, and then just what were some of the things that you felt due to that altitude? So you said dizziness.
Dizziness.
Did it affect your sleep?
No.
Okay.
We'll talk about that's on the list later. Something else affected my sleep.
Okay.
So we'll get to that.
Nice.
The main one for me, just being winded.
Yeah.
If I'm talking with my buddy Kyle here, hey man, this is so good. I'll tell you when I had enough. That's me.
Dang, dude.
I struggle.
Well, yeah, that's super interesting. Usually what I say to people when they come out here is just I think it kind of has to be a little bit of baptism by fire.
Yeah.
So I tell people, when you get here, as quickly as possible, just assimilate your body. Hop on an assault bike, hop on a treadmill, hop on a stair stepper, the incline, go on like a good hike, not like walk around Garden of the Gods, that's not gonna do anything for you, but like go on like something, because I think, well, it's gonna cause your body to like adapt, and your body's gonna go, oh my God, this is crazy. So I have a friend who's an actual legit athlete. He does ultra marathons, and he's living in Kansas. His name's Randy.
Thank you.
He's living in Kansas now, just moved over to Missouri actually, and the last time he came back, he was like trying to squeeze in so many Colorado activities in like one weekend that he actually got altitude sick because his body had adjusted to the Midwest. So it is a very real thing. I don't know if you ever really get used to it because like the air always feels like your lungs are burning, but
through my perspective, I actually, the biggest critique that I've seen everybody talk about, and you guys have talked about it in previous videos of the past, is that, okay, thinner air is out here, and you're gonna have a hard time breathing. Two facts, but also, I'm in a place that had like 80 to 90% humidity, and you think I can breathe in? I'm drinking, I'm breathing water, and I was struggling more during the July to September timeframe in Virginia, in Florida, and everything, the whole coast of the stickiness and mugginess of it all. I literally was having a hard time breathing out there, and I've done the drier climate out here and thinner air enough, so to the point where we can actually have our adjustment period to it. It's a harder adjustment period doing anything on the East Coast than it is being on this side of the Mississippi.
Interesting.
So through my perspective, coming from both coasts and knowing both climates, more or less dry and humid and sea level, and now mile high, I could say that the adjustment, even if it's slow, we acclimate because as humans, as human beings, Homo sapiens, we are meant to adapt to our environment. That's the military mindset.
No, that's cute.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Let's move on. So that one sucked, but I will tell you what is even more interesting, more specific to me, something you guys don't talk about, and I don't blame you. But number 14, lack of EV charging spots, specifically for Teslas. You guys don't know this problem, but
I don't have an EV, but you do. You have two? You have one?
I have two.
You have two.
My household's an EV household.
Okay.
And admittedly, it's not because I'm trying to save the earth or anything like that. I just think the vehicles are cool.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
Selfishly, it's because these things pick up speed quick.
Yeah.
And I don't like driving. FSD, full self-driving, put it on, off, there you go. Referral code in the link. No, I'm just kidding, I don't have a referral code.
Dude,
but,
sick.
So you guys only have 2 charging stations for Teslas, for superchargers, which is one of the fastest charging networks that we have worldwide. And we only have 2 here in Colorado Springs. And the reason that's a problem is I just came from Williamsburg, Virginia, okay? Williamsburg has a population of about like 4,000, okay? They had 2 charging stations. That made sense.
Interesting.
San Diego, where I'm from, had 15, I don't know, abundant amount of charging
It was
stations.
like blocking my view, I'm sorry.
I'm right here.
Yeah.
So for a population this size out here in Colorado Springs, I had expected, I was very disappointed about the lack of networks for charging. There are alternatives.
It's actually surprising to me because I feel like Colorado is a pretty, generally speaking, progressive state. So I actually would have thought that there would have been more. I did not know that there was only 2 superchargers. Do you know where they are?
Yes, Briargate, downtown.
Of course.
Yeah.
Interesting. So like, what do you do elsewhere? Are there other charging stations?
There is. And we can use the network if you have an adapter and stuff like that. We can use any of the networks, but different charge rates. Just like gas stations, they have different prices.
Yeah.
And
interesting.
Biasly for me, I do have referrals from my own work that I do. So I actually have like free supercharging. So I'm not trying to spend any money. And if worst case scenario, I can't get anywhere, then I charge home. 90% of the time I'm charging home anyway. So
interesting.
It's when we want to get out and travel. We moved to Colorado because this, specifically the Springs, is meant to be an outdoor lifestyle.
Yeah.
So we love being outside. The last thing I want to do is go home to charge. I'd rather be charging downtown. And when I only got 2 locations and none of them are in the mountainside, it kind of ruins my travel plans when I want to go to Buena Vista.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask is what about outside of Colorado Springs? So like forget Denver because I'm sure that there's more up there.
There is.
But like, who's going to Denver? Not me. But so outside of that, yeah, is it possible to do EV
Yes.
trips, and then you're like, are you always worried about it, or is it just that there's not superchargers like out towards BV or out towards like Salida or anything like that?
Both.
Okay.
So, bigger context, people outside of Teslas, and there's more people now buying non-Teslas.
Sure.
They have networks as well. Rivian owns the Rockies. They have.
Interesting.
They pride themselves on being a charging network that is meant to be for the people who go camping, overnight, weekend, week camping. So things that are either at Rocky National Park, anything just west from here, there is a Rivian network out there, and I've been kind of looking at maybe upgrading one of my vehicles to a Rivian.
Dude, they're pretty baller. We have a little Rivian. You know, we have got like it's not a plant, but it's
a service center.
Yeah. Right over by the airport.
How do you think I got that merch right there?
Oh yeah.
So
it's a Rivian.
But to answer your question, for anybody who does have who uses the supercharging network, because that is the most efficient.
Yeah.
There is stuff out west from here. I forget the city that's south of Buena Vista, but
Salida.
there's a charging station there. You can on any capacity of your battery pack that you would have, because we don't have tanks, we have batteries. You can make it from the Springs to there. No,
because
no
I see them like at Vale, Breckenridge, Aspen. Obviously, Aspen has a duh.
They're out in Telluride.
Yeah, I see them in all those cities.
Yeah.
But I guess this is actually super interesting because, yeah, you're right. We have never talked about it because none of us, me, Chris, Sam, or Francis, none of us drive an EV. But, you met one of my other clients, John Verzal, right?
He's a nice guy.
I just doxed him, I think. Just saying his full name, I don't know. But that was something you guys connected on like super quick.
Yeah.
It's because you're both EV nerds, and like immediately it was. I'm sure it's like, where is everything? How's the structure? How's the implementation? So that's super interesting.
So I think to bring that full circle here, one thing that I kind of wish I knew a little bit more, and it does suck, and you have to just plan accordingly, which I think is the theme for a lot of this, is just preparation for it. We need more for a population this big and for a city that's growing as fast as it is. We need more charging stations. I think for all networks.
That's fair.
Admittedly.
Before we move on, if you are new to this channel, this is living in Colorado Springs. So we are local realtors. We know everything about this city, but apparently I didn't know that there's not any more superchargers, but now I do. And this is what's cool about this channel. So if you are looking to move to Colorado Springs or come in to visit, whatever, reach out. Our phone number is down below, our email, call, text, email, whatever is best for you. And as you can see, I'm sitting here with a client who has become a friend. He did the same thing. He found us on YouTube and he reached out, and we were able to help him move from Virginia. He came to visit, but it's a little bit different experience for everybody.
Yeah.
Relocating from a different state is very, very different than just moving within your own city, and that is what we specialize in.
What I need to say that I want on record as being a former client. This has been the best, and I tell you this off mic. This is not for show. This has been the best moving and house buying experience in our lives. And I'm kind of a frequent flyer of moving and buying houses because of the military. So this isn't my first rodeo, but by far not even close. You guys, the whole team, very hospitable. You have been a genuine friendship.
Yeah.
It's not about yes, we had a work relationship as well at one point, but all that was secondary to just helping because of the passion that this community has established about what's out here. And I knew I was going to come here before I found you guys. You guys just made it that much better. Like, there's great people out here. Sick.
Appreciate
awesome.
that.
I love it.
Hey, will you go grab that $500 check that I promised him for saying that? Thank you. Yeah. All right. Let's say number 13.
So you told me.
I told you.
If the altitude was keeping me up at night.
Okay.
No. Number 13. Evidently, would it be my luck that, according to my neighbors who've been here for decades, that over the past 6 weeks, we have had the worst winds ever.
My bro, but for real.
Okay, so you told me.
I told you.
The wind's it's gonna kind of suck. I'm like, okay, whatever. Poor me. Wind. Do we get tornadoes? No.
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 Not really.
No. That's everything east from here,
Yep.
right? The
You'll get
Rockies.
I think I've had like a tornado warning here before, but
I got tornado warnings all the time in Virginia.
Last year they did have one in Denver, that ripped through Littleton or Lakewood. But anyway, not here.
Not here.
That's why we
We're
don't
too
live
close to
in
the front
Denver.
range,
Yeah.
so that kind of blocks it. And I would get warnings all the time in Virginia, tornado warning, but it's forest state, so
Sure.
I didn't worry about that. So when you told me wind, and everybody was telling me, my brother who was stationed out here, everybody's telling me, oh, the wind's kind of aggressive, like, oh, boo-hoo. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
Do we not live in 2024? I have a house, I'm good. But little did I know, evidently everybody else as well, that 90-mile-per-hour winds could be a thing. I was kind of hoping for the tornado at that point.
It is. Okay, so what's funny is like it's all perspective, right? Because like if you come from a place that it's never windy, 20-mile-an-hour winds is pretty wild. I came from a place, Clovis, New Mexico, where like the standard was 50-mile-an-hour winds. The standard. It was like you would have actually like 5 nice days a year where it was like good temperature and not windy.
Yeah.
Otherwise it was too hot, not windy. Nice day, windy, or just crappy and windy all at the same time. It was so windy down there, it was unbelievable. Here, it is, springtime here, it is pretty bananas. And one of the reasons, here's some meteorological information for you, is that like the temperature changes pretty often, especially like in our spring months.
Yeah.
But it is like, it'll get hot and then you'll have another cold front coming through and it builds up over the mountains. So it's like just a lot of things that are happening, but like builds up over the mountains and then it comes sweeping down onto the plains because as you go east from Colorado Springs, it just becomes the plains. So the wind is pretty wild and you're right. Like I will get up at night and close my window because it's like it's howling.
Woo!
Yep. Yeah, it's doing that. It's blowing like our dog bowls
I thought my tinnitus kept me up.
No, dude.
I will take a deployment again before. Woo!
Well, that's why we sleep with like a brown noise machine.
I have one of those.
Super, like pretty dang loud.
Yeah.
But like when that wind just gets so loud that.
So tell me why, I didn't even tell you, I genuinely haven't even told you this. Tell me why the next day after that thing that happened 6 weeks ago, my brother sends me a photo of his car, windshield completely smashed because something hit it. Oh. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy, sucks to suck down by, being up on the foothill. And I come out here and I have light posts that are ripped from the ground, trees tipped over, signs bent. I go, what is happening right now?
Yeah, I've seen like, we were looking at a house over in off of Mesa Valley Road, I think, over on the west side of town. And we like walked into the backyard. I don't even think the homeowner knew it because they had so many trees on their lot. But there was a whole pine tree that was like ripping out of the earth, and it got caught by another tree. But had it not, it was big enough that it would have gone like straight through at least the deck. So yeah, the wind is pretty bananas. My wife. That's the first time I've said that on camera.
Hey, can we say it
fun.
now? That's awkward.
We got married this weekend. Hey.
Hey.
She's at the Air Force Academy. Okay, let me rephrase that. She is not a cadet. She is not in college. She is a pilot. But she's for the skydiving team.
Yeah.
And like spring, they have to start so early because like it'll get windy and it'll just like ruin weeks of training. Because, you're not trying to skydive with 25, 30, 40, 50 knot winds. So.
My target's here. No, it's not.
Yeah. Psych. So.
You thought. So, not as aggressive as the wind. That one, honestly, it blows.
Oh. That was good.
But, right from the top there. But, not as bad, but something I wasn't actually ready for. And this is something you guys have warned us about. And you just don't know until you're in it. I'm coming. I am a San Diegan. 619, baby. Not that 719 area code. 619. Whoop. I'm a San Diegan. So this was, even though I was out east where there is winter, I'm still a San Diegan.
Yep.
The snow out here, no.
Okay, so
what I need to tell you.
Because people ask me about the snow all the time, and now I feel like I've been misleading them.
No, you're not. The amount of snow that falls down, not bad. In fact, it was later on our list, snow comes down and then it's gone. Same day, I'm at the park later on that day. I have done that.
Yeah.
That's fine. And I like seeing the snow. The wind's not as aggressive, but what I'm not ready for, what I'm not prepared for is then having to commute in the snow part. And I'm a pretty good driver, being a dad now. But vehicles.
You're a good driver, or your Tesla is a good driver?
Well, to tell you the truth, I thought I was going to let the Tesla drive one of the snow days that we had, and no.
Ooh,
I was doing this the whole time on the 21 over here on Powers.
Yeah.
I was freaking out. And so I immediately like boop, boop, taking control, you know. And as I'm driving, and I swear to God, true story. I was braking, so I hit my brakes, and I like, okay, done. Nope. I'm just moving. Mm-hmm. And as somebody from California, Southern California, I am freaking.
Oh yeah.
Stay calm. The family's watching me. And then, if it's not me, I'm looking at all the drivers around me like, oh no, this is it. My X amount of value Tesla is about to get hit by this 99 Civic.
Well, it's crazy because I think what I would say on that is that like a lot of people they do underestimate, and they come here with 2-wheel drive vehicles.
Yes.
You know, the worst case rear wheel drive, which I don't even know if they make those anymore. But
please don't.
But like, you really do need to be prepared to have all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. Front-wheel drive is better than nothing. And if you have like front-wheel drive or even all-wheel drive, there are a lot of people that have a set of winter tires and a set of like summer tires as well.
That's where I messed up.
Yeah, and because like winter tires are actually freaking incredible. And the roads, they do get slick.
Yes.
Because it's cold, because it's really, really cold. And so like that condensation gets there, and the snow and the ice. So it can be very, very slidey.
I totally get why people are like Subaru fanatics out here. Do not come here without having all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Just don't. My vehicles are all-wheel drive, and I was still sliding. The winter tire thing, lesson learned.
Yeah, I don't even have winter tires. I use like all-season tires, which are not the same, by the way, or off-road tires, which are also not the same. But I have a 4-wheel drive truck, and I have a lot of experience. Fortunately, you know, I grew up or spent a lot of years in Utah as well, so like I kind of understand it. But it will quadruple your commute.
Yes.
Quadruple, easy. If you have a 20-minute commute, it's going to be over an hour because it's going to be so slow. There's going to be accidents all over.
Hey, boss, I'm not coming in today. I didn't prepare.
Yep.
Number 11.
Number 11.
One thing that I actually really love about this city over Denver, and I picked it strategically over Denver, is I'm an outdoor guy. I love being outside. I like being in the sun, and I like doing outdoor activities, from anything like leisure sports to like aggressive sports. I've done the whole spectrum of that stuff. One thing that I genuinely appreciate and I love about this city is I have never been surrounded by so many parks before. Love that.
Yeah.
What I hate is I am taken out of the element when I am surrounded by a sea of suburbia everywhere. It takes me out of the element. Not so much on the west side, admittedly, but on this side, I feel like I am in a fishbowl and people are watching me, and I think I have eyes on me.
You're talking about more like parks, like playgrounds.
No, I'm excluding Palmer and Pulpit and all that stuff.
Okay, sure, because that's what comes to mind immediately for me, but...
Good. No, and as you should, as a father who has a 1-year-old, he can't really do... I have taken him to there. I love going to Rock River. That's one of my favorite areas, right? So I love going over there, and he loves being on the trails. But I have an off-road like stroller for him, and so we're doing things. But in the elements of where I need to be either quickly accessible to the vehicle or I need something that has to really tailor to him, I tend to do more of the community parks that are around here, stuff that has the playgrounds or the. I love Cottonwood. Cottonwood's my favorite one for that type of stuff. But again, as beautiful as all it is, and I'm taking in Pikes Peak in all her glory, I am also taking out the element the moment I realize that I'm in like suburbia Mecca.
Well, I think that's interesting, especially the way that you described it, where it kind of feels like a fishbowl.
Yes.
I'm going to add to this. I don't even know if this is on your list, but there's in the urban sprawl in the suburbia. So as you move east, especially east and northeast, there is a lot of development. There's a lot of houses being built continuously, especially as you go out towards, kind of east of Mark Sheffel and then all the way up north to like Woodman. There's a lot that's just continuing to be built. And I think they do generally try to keep them like within reach of a park or a playground or something like that.
Which I love.
Some kind of open space, which is amazing. But what you also get out here, fishbowl feeling, is you get neighborhoods over here especially that very much feel like that. Yeah. Where you go into your backyard and you're sharing a fence and you've got neighbor on either side, neighbor to like the 2 and 10 o'clock, and then your neighbor right here. And so like if you're in your backyard and you have a small backyard like I do, you're like, you go out there and you're like, hi everybody.
Hello.
I'm here.
With you're not too like, small of a robe.
Yeah. You're like, it's like kind of awkward. So like we have like a little fire pit in the backyard that we like legitimately don't ever use because of that backyard space. But like, it's also interesting because when we do go out back, it's like the neighbors you don't acknowledge each other. Yeah. It's very weird. Unless there's like a legit reason to, but like most of the time you just go back there and it's like, you try to just respect their privacy by not talking to them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
It's very interesting. So we've just become front porch people.
Nice.
Because of that. We sit on our front porch. We've got like, we don't even have furniture on the back patio or like the deck. Yeah. We have a couch out front. So like we'll go out front to like drink our coffee and the dogs will sit on the patio and we'll just sit there and like there it's like it's fun to wave to people and you know drink your coffee and whatever. And but yeah, that urban sprawl fishbowl kind of feel.
Dude.
I could see how you feel that in like a lot of the parks.
You showed me back in our realtor relationship, you had shown me a property that on paper and for everything that comes with it, a beautiful property. And it was a great home, newer built. And it was before we found this house. And we went to that one. And you were highlighting like, so here's all this stuff, but you were painting that exact same picture, very transparent up front about it. I'm like, this is awkward because I'm surrounded by everybody. And their regulations for fences are low, open.
Yep.
Banning Lewis Ranch.
Ranch.
It's a great community for like
it is.
For like if they people I like it for older people. I can see my family living there. But
oh yeah.
Yeah, for someone like me, I was like, this is kind of awkward and uncomfortable. And I was taken out. I wasn't interested in that property after doing that because I want to be outside all the time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we found this place and having all that view and stuff like that, I was like, I can work with this.
Yeah.
And so this was my compromise that made all parties happy. And I have a bit of a hack to mine because I'm up on a hill, so I'm not as obstructed. But if this was flat, thank God it's Colorado, but if this was flat, no. Rough.
Yeah. No, this is super good for me to hear too, because like, you know, I also moved here. I'm not from Colorado. I also moved here and I have my own perceptions of things that like were important to me when looking for a home and looking for a neighborhood. But having this kind of discourse is like super interesting because like we have people like you reach out to us all the time. And sometimes I do have to remember that like everybody's preferences are not my preferences, and like and obviously everybody's experience is not my experience, and so it's helpful to kind of like this is really like opening my aperture of like what is other people's experience as they move here. So I think it'll help us, you know, hopefully like kind of serve our clients even better.
You guys did good. At least I can only speak from my own perspective. You did good about showing me very drastic properties, so I know what we were working with. Because I didn't want to see 3 Banning Lewis properties.
Yeah. You got to see kind of the gamut.
I got to see, You gave me that spectrum. I was like, this is perfect. Yeah. And it was just a timing thing where it's like, all right, this is going to have to be the one. Now we're going to top 10. We are coming into the final 10.
Let's go.
Now this one, we've all talked about, and it's no surprise, no shock, especially because it's such a popular city now. Number 3.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. But with that, I bloody hate the construction traffic. My goodness. I'm from San Diego, okay? I know population, a dense population, okay? That, I'm fine bumper to bumper. Mentally, like I'm trained in it, molded by it. I didn't see open fields until I got to Virginia.
Yeah.
So, but then by then I was spoiled. But coming here, what blows my mind, to get 5 miles somewhere will take 15 minutes. Absolutely absurd. I am used to traffic. I am not used to these 2 to 3 lane roads.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting. And I feel like, and we've talked about this on the channel before, is that like the growth has outpaced the the growth has outpaced like the infrastructure. And so now they're like trying to catch up, like Mark Scheffel, for example.
Yes.
Like now that there's so much more planning and development happening out here and a lot of growth, now they're turning Mark Scheffel, which was 4 lanes. Two on either side, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 on either side. Now they're like
Sometimes 1.
Yeah, now they're expanding it to make it wider because they're trying to like actually I think get ahead. But man, dude, the construction out here is so slow.
I hate Academy.
That is like
right.
That's what drives me nuts is like how long? I think it's because I watched like a YouTube video or some like Instagram reel once upon a time of like a sinkhole in Japan and it was fixed in like 48 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, why are we starting another project? This one's not done.
Yeah.
And like that happens all the time out here. For me, it's the red lights.
Dude.
Bro, there are red lights everywhere. And they make no sense. And even worse, they're not on they're on timer.
Yeah.
They're not on sensor pads. Like, so you're like, you pull up 1 a.m. and you're just like sitting there and you look to your left. By the way, you're on the main road and you look to your right and your left. And then you're like,
I think about it.
You're like, what am I doing here? Why am I stopped?
I know somebody who treats them sometimes more as like suggestions to come to a stop when it's
Dude,
that
even
empty.
in Clovis, we would just like the main road had had yellow, like flashing yellow.
Yeah.
And then the side non-main roads that were like going to cross the intersection had flashing reds. So that it was like, and that happened from midnight to 5 a.m. But so you stack, so now you stack the construction on top of the red lights and just kind of the infrastructure that's trying to catch up.
Yeah.
And then there's like additional construction for potholes as well. It's like, especially in the spring because of the freezing and the stuff that goes on the roads and blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, it makes a couple roads in particular just kind of heinous. And they're just annoying. It's like, everybody understands like there's gonna be traffic, but it's like, when you're on Platte is like the bane of my existence because it's how I get to work. So like I'll be like driving on it and it's like there's a red light like every 50 meters and you're like, why is there another red light here? Like this is absurd.
Yeah.
It's just super annoying.
I can't fathom why the Austin Bluffs to Academy region, why there are so many cones that just block off a road for about a mile.
And nothing's happening.
there.
Literally
and
nothing.
then I just, at least make it look like you're fixing the potholes.
Yeah, it's super annoying.
I don't understand it. They're good problems to have because if you, on a bigger scale, it's like, people want to be here, I get it.
Yeah.
We are a product of that.
Yep.
But I think our priorities are kind of off base.
I think it's just slow. But, you know, and in the same vein, I had a family move up here last year from LA, and like they saw like, oh, it's rush hour. We're going to be driving on I-25. Like the traffic's going to be insane. You know, the Google Maps was like red, and like they never actually stopped.
Yeah.
They were just creeping.
Yeah.
And the son, who's like 12, perceptive, was like, that was it? That was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I've sat in traffic for 2 hours. Like, I'm watching Lord of the Rings in the back of a car because
The director's cut.
the director's cut because it's so bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely don't have that here. But like, if you're like an aficionado of small town, like real small town feel, like it's gonna get rough.
It's rough. Yeah. I take my chances doing side roads before I get on one of the main ones. But so I'll tell you this much: all of that doesn't suck as much as number 9. Number 9, as a homeowner, what I'm not used to. I had to learn through this, and your experience may vary. There's a lot of regulations out here that kind of mess with me a little bit.
Interesting. In what format?
I'll give you my very literal, specific one for me. One, as I've encountered 5, I'm only going to give you one. I wanted to expand, as you recall. I have a pretty small deck. Don't judge me. It was winter.
How big is your deck?
About 10 to 10.
And in this case, does the size of your deck matter?
If we want a hot tub, that one's...
Then yes.
So, but it's old, it's rotting, It's the original build with the house. So this is 18 years old.
Yeah.
So no maintenance on it, minus whatever through the VA, all that. Nothing's been done to it. So my first objective with, we move here for the views, right? Like Colorado is one of the most beautiful states in the whole country. Traffic be darned. But with that, I'm like, okay, we're going to fix our backyard. We're going to get this ready immediately. I don't want to wait years to do this. I want to kind of do it now. So I wanted to get a new deck. I wanted to expand the deck. Yeah. And I want everything to just be brought to life because that's where I want to spend most of my days. And so as simple as like getting quotes, I'm telling these guys, hey, I just want to take this part and bring it to the end of the house. Simple, right? No. Because evidently for El Paso County, there are these, you have to be within certain like zoning requirements, and you can't be too close to your neighbor, and then you can't go too far out from wherever your plot line is, and there's all these other things. I'm thinking, listen, the deck is already here, and my house already goes out there. I'm just doing it this way. Simple, right? And no, you actually have to like go and get all these permits and permissions and requirements, and I'm not used to that. And even as a place that's as dense as San Diego, they didn't really actually have that much weird of an issue.
Yeah, that's super interesting because, and I didn't learn this until I had been in this business a little bit, to be honest, but there's like a whole list. It's Pikes Peak Regional Building Development. And so PPRBD, yeah. And on that website, there's like a whole list of like things that require a permit to do work. And I did not know that either. So that comes up a lot in like inspections and stuff like that, is you'll be like, we put in a water heater last year, it's not permitted. And you're like, well, it needs to get permitted. So there's an interesting list of things that like, and maybe that's everywhere, I don't know. But like there is a pretty hefty list of like things that you want to do you want to finish your basement. You have to permit finishing your basement. Maybe that's everywhere, but there's a pretty good list. Working with PPRBD, it's not actually the worst. Like it's pretty easy to like have them come out and check your stuff, but definitely like use that as a resource as you continue to do stuff to this house. Like I would just always check, like, does this need to be permitted? Because when you go to resell the house, like if something's not permitted, they're going to ask you to get it permitted, and then it can become a nightmare if it was done wrong or whatever.
That's been my back and forth with these contractors, working with these guys. But
interesting.
It's staying on the topic of houses. Number 8. My observation: houses do be moving, though.
Yeah, they do. They do be moving a little bit.
They do be moving.
Welcome to the mountains.
It's something you have to be in it to know it. Being so close to like the front range like this, there's a lot to consider. That even in the home buy, like, oh, I want the view, but I want to be by the park, walking distances,
Yeah.
And you don't actually think about the house themselves. Even if the foundation's good, I'm noticing that like structurally, maybe aesthetically, you're gonna like, ooh.
Yeah, so what we see a lot out here, especially as you go west, like and you're really, really close to the mountains, or you're in like a legitimate mountain property, is like the big focus is like, how is the foundation? Is the foundation sturdy? Because like the mountains do be moving though, right? And there's going to be signs throughout the house and around the house, obviously, of like that type of movement, which can be scary if you're from like the Midwest again, right? Like, or somewhere where there's not a lot of like earth moving. So like out here,
tectonic plates shifting.
Yeah. So like out here, it is pretty common. Like you'll have doors that stick. You might see like kind of stucco cracks. Like, I mean, like so quick. And while stucco is like a pretty decent, like, if it's built properly, it's got plenty of layers. So like you're fine if it cracks, but I think you just have to stay on top of it, right? Like I recommend, okay, so I'll give you a quick example. So a neighbor of mine, I helped him buy his house, and there was just never any maintenance done to the house, like to the exterior. And so they didn't even have stucco. They had like just the regular side panels, right? Yeah. But like around the windows, there's like cracks around the windows, cracks around like, this is going to sound worse than it is, but like around water lines or just like in the fascia of the house or like some kind of deteriorating. And you really just want to stay on top of it, like as you live in the house. So maybe especially, I guess you could say after winter or before winter, whatever, like pick a time And that should be the time, like, I am going to walk around and I'm going to look at all the windows. And then I'm going to walk around and I'm going to look at all the doors. I'm going to look at all the trim, especially on the exterior of the house. And you can just have, or you can do it yourself, but just like seal all of that up. Because like, especially with the wild, like heating and cooling throughout the winter, you know, you don't want water getting in there and expanding and making it worse.
Yeah.
That's really, really common. And then, of course, you know, you just keep an eye on the old foundation.
Good point.
And radon. Did you know what radon was when
You
moved
taught
out?
me that. I was like, we went to that one house where it was just
Oh, yeah.
in the basement. And
Yeah, yeah.
It's just right there. It was just, I'm like,
Had that little...
Kyle, what is this? What did you bring me to?
Yeah. So, okay, so for those of you that don't know, radon, it's just decaying rock. Rock decays. In fact, if you take a radon detector, I just learned this. If you take a radon detector and you set it on a granite countertop, radon, it will show radon, right? But it's like such minimal levels. But so out here, you have that especially, again, on the west side, but it happens everywhere, but like over on the west side of town, when you're like closer and in the mountains, or you've got like basements that are fully under the ground. So like a lot of people do radon tests, and then there's these little radon mitigation systems, which basically just vent air out.
I told Kyle to explain it to me like I'm 5. Because I was like, what is this? I've owned homes, never had that.
Yeah.
I know about carbon and all these things I need to have that was required, but explain to me like I'm 5. It's like, the rocks are trying to poison you.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah. So
What?
it's not that big of a deal, but like a lot of people do it in inspections. They'll have a radon mitigation test, or a radon test rather, that lasts like 2 or 3 days, and then, you know, they check the levels. And I'm actually surprised. Sometimes there's a house where I'm like, ooh, that's for sure going to be hot. And then it's not. So yeah. I don't know. I have no way to predict. So we just do the test pretty much every time.
Numero 7! Because of our common thread of this location, it being a military town, and I grew up in a military town, so I know. And I've actually, every city I've ever been in is associated to the military. That's my backstory's common thread. The drivers here freaking blow. They suck.
Are you saying military drivers suck?
I'm saying, I'm one of them, aren't I? Or is it my Tesla?
Is your Tesla?
Is it the Tesla?
He's got the military model, so
I do it. It's Matt Green.
It's legitimately programmed to drive like a military person.
It's military grade, so you know it's bad. So,
kind of true.
The drivers, maybe it goes back to one of the earlier numbers of it being like just the roads are too small, but the drivers, bro, I've been to New York numerous of times, jerks, and they know that. They own it. They're proud of that.
Yeah.
But out here, it's different when you're just like, why is everybody so aggressive? And they're just like,
interesting.
I don't know if there's a stigma because they see an EV and they're like, no, not in my town. Or if it's the fact that everybody's just running late because of these potholes, and they're just mad about something.
Interesting.
Like, guys, slow down. It's a beautiful city. Let's not be mad all the time. But they let it out on the road.
Okay, so you think that it's like aggressive drivers?
No.
Is that what you feel more?
No, aggressive is New York.
Yeah. Okay.
And DC. I was in the DC proper.
For sure.
Yeah. No, what this is that you have all these different walks of life in the backgrounds of how they grew up driving from nowhere, USA to Chicago, okay? And we all got to come together and learn to navigate one each other's like habits.
Yeah.
We don't all
That's interesting.
It's aggressive.
So Randy, would you say diversity is not our greatest strength?
Whoa.
Don't answer that. But that is super interesting, though,
Quite
because,
frankly, Kyle, believe me, okay? I love the people out here. I've seen a lot of people.
It is an interesting observation, though, because, like it very much is a melting pot out here,
It is.
right? And so, like, when you have people that come in, their culture of driving, I guess that's now a thing, their culture of driving is aggressive or laid back or, like, very, like, casual or defensive driving. You know, like, I guess it depends on, like, where they come from. And then you get here and there's just this amalgamation that's kind of messy. My least favorite thing about the drivers here is, like, I know people in Colorado love to camp, which is cool, but camping in the passing lane
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my heavens, bro. Like, same speed.
Yes.
Not even a mile an hour faster where they're like going to pass eventually. Just same speed, driving right next to each other like they're flying in formation. It's so annoying.
These drivers are exceeding the limits of my medication.
There's also an inordinate amount of campers up here. And so like you have to deal with that too. Like even when you drive out into the mountains, like you are going to be driving behind big old fifth wheels, campers. 1,000 from Texas, by the way.
Yeah.
There are so many, like Texans come to Colorado for the summer. It's crazy. And campers galore. Campers, trailers, fifth wheels, whatever. Yeah.
It's one of those things that I've always been around because of the military, but it's very noticeable here when we definitely don't have the infrastructure in place with it. That everybody is just, you're either in a hurry.
But that being said, it's not as busy as San Diego.
That's true.
Or DC or New York.
That's true.
So it's like, it's all perspective again, I think.
It genuinely is it's a different.
Yeah.
Not one's better than the other, but it is something that you're going to notice. And if you get road rage quickly, you're going to be part of the problem.
Yeah.
And I try to be a better man now. I try.
Just goose fraba.
With that, number 6. The air out here, and I think it has to do maybe with the altitude as well. I have a working theory on that, but the air out here extremely dry. We know this. We know there's no humidity out here like that. But it's even more noticeable when I get out of the shower and I do my whatever. I go outside and like I look like I'm just lost in the desert for 40 days, and my lips and my skin was cracking. It was really weird for a minute there. My body was trying really hard to adapt to that.
Yeah, interesting.
It took about 2 months. And through that, 6 Bravo, a little side note there, just because we're talking about humidity, water.
Yeah.
The lakes thing. I've been to Memorial Park. I checked out the lake. I went to that one spot that's right by Fort Carson, by Broadmoor or Stratmore area. The lake. Dude.
Yeah, we don't have real big lakes here, but also like
everything is dry. Even your lakes are dry.
Yeah, it's like technically considered semi-arid out here, but it's pretty arid. It's pretty dry. It's not like Nevada. It's not like Arizona. Yeah. But especially when you come from the Midwest or the Southeast or anything like that, where it's like there is legitimate humidity and you're just sweating all the time, that is not the case out here at all. I think it's kind of nice, but like my body, I think is pretty well adapted to it. But yeah, you definitely like, people are going to be like chapstick, good lotion to try to like not have like dry elbows and like knuckles and stuff like that.
Dude, I have good skin naturally. Like I don't wear anything, and it made me rethink like, do I have good skin? My brother, wherever he goes, he has an emergency Carmex chapstick in his right here, one in his car, one in his... He has at least 5, unironically, wherever he goes, so that he can always access one, just in case one melts in his car or something. Nice. Just drink more water.
Yeah.
So, it's just something that with that being said, I take this every time over the intolerable humidity.
Oh my God.
I can't breathe out there.
Yeah, no, I hate it.
So I will take a little chapped skin.
Yeah.
If it means that I don't have to be drinking in air.
Yeah, no. I am 100% on board with that.
Number 5, also with the whole dryness thing, deviating a little bit here, I would say one thing that I've learned being out here that I was like, whoa, I never exposed to this. I didn't even know what this was. My property, I have xeriscape. I was like, what is I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Right? I'm coming from Virginia, where everything is lush and green and thick. I came to this. Is this like a thing?
Yeah. Okay, so that's super funny. I guess now that I think about it, like most of my adult life has been spent in the West, like the Mountain West, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. So xeriscape, super popular, super common, and it's because, a lot of reasons, but it's like what you said, it's like pretty dry out here, and there's not a ton of water, so growing grass be hard. It is hard.
It do be hard though.
Yeah, so This is for the fathers out there that are like, that want to be yard dads and have like gorgeous manicured lawns.
I thought that was me.
Yeah, you sure can, but it's going to come at a cost. So it's just different. We have pretty sandy, clayey soil out here. It's not super fertile. A lot of times what you have to do if you're like trying to have a yard out here is you have to do a lot of additives to it. Or I think in the soil industry or the yard work industry, they call it like amendments to your soil. But it's just like the way that you grow grass and like have a yard out here is a lot different. And it actually requires a lot more resources in order to keep that like really beautiful lawn. Whereas like in the Midwest, you don't have to do anything. Like, and you've just got like Kentucky bluegrass just popping up or like a really nice fescue that is just like beautiful. But out here it's just more arid. So those cool season grasses don't work out out here as well. So a lot of people do what's called xeriscaping, where basically you tear it up, you tear up all that grass, you scrape it, and then you put down like a barrier, like a plastic barrier or something like that, like a weed guard. And then you just like you can pour on literally like any type of rock, big rocks, small rocks, whatever. And you kind of create just like these rock gardens.
Yes.
Or almost your entire front lawn is that, and then you have turf out front, right?
Yeah.
Which is not super, super common, but it is common enough. I had that in my house in New Mexico as well, which I just like because it was like zero maintenance, right? It's like every now and then I go pull some weeds and brush it off or something like that. But
hose it down and get the dog pee smell out of it. My goodness.
That. But like, but honestly, like it's so great. The xeriscaping, like it costs a little bit of money up front to do it, but like watering your lawn out here costs hella dollars.
Yeah.
It costs a lot of money. So if you are a dad, because it typically seems to be dads that really want to take care of...
I'm a dad.
They really want to take care of lawns.
Yeah.
They really get down the YouTube rabbit hole. It's just, you can do it out here. Just expect that it's not going to look like, Southern Pines, golf course or whatever. It's not going to be... Yeah, it's not going to be gorgeous like that. But and I feel like it's fine.
So with that, going from San Diego, all urban... So there's no nothing. It's a concrete jungle out there.
Yeah.
And then you got oceans and mountains, but mostly concrete jungle. And then going from to being in Virginia, and Virginia was like you couldn't not have flowers and all these things grow and weeds, everything out there.
Yeah.
I was like, those were very two extremes, and I thought I had seen it all.
Yeah.
I will learn to love xeriscape for what it is.
Yeah. I love it. I think it can be as pretty as you want it to be.
I agree.
Like I've seen people do really, really good jobs, or they'll have like just a small little like kidney bean shape, of grass. They'll have like a little kidney bean shape of grass and like rocks all around it, or they'll have whatever like little features, big rocks, small rocks, and when you add variation, it actually can look really pretty. But ultimately, it's just really nice when it's not like costing you hundreds of dollars to water, and then you don't have to go outside all the time and mow your dang grass.
Especially if you're in an HOA and you get threats on your door like, hey.
I like it.
Number 4. Here's something you guys don't talk about. And it's probably actually not because it's not really in your field, but something I feel as a client, as a customer, as of everything that wants to get his life established, this is good to know. And this is also a little bit niche. Follow me. I work from home. And I rely heavily on my internet. One thing that I'm noticing, and locations do vary, but for what it is, and I thought I picked a good, like, central populated spot of the city here. We don't have any fiber internet out here, which is problematic. With an asterisk. Literally, I don't know if you guys saw this when you were pulling up, but there are cables and road work happening in my community here because they are literally installing fiber now. So it is coming. And maybe much like the road work construction that they're trying to keep up to it, I feel in 2024, to have the option of fiber is like a baseline necessity. And Xfinity doesn't offer it here, even though they do have it. T-Mobile doesn't bring it out here, even though they have it. And we can go down the list of everybody, but in my community here, and I'm noticing, and I started looking at a map, I went online to see, like, where was this at? Because I was looking at that. I never told you this when I was shopping for a home, I was like, I need a place with good service and good internet, but I never actually looked for fiber, something that I actually need and I depend on, because I just assumed a populated city as this, 500,000 would have it, and they don't. Asterisk. So frustrating. I don't like that. I wish I would have known more about that. And I feel like Colorado Springs, this is where like Denver bluntly outshines us as of right now. We need to, play catch up on the internet side of things. So
interesting. What does the map look like? Like how available is it here? Because I don't pay attention to.
It's spreading though. So when I looked, so I was shopping last quarter of last year, and it showed on the map. If you were to look at the city, it would show you all the like completely grayed out. We don't have it to like a vibrant blue. Yeah. Then you have like a faded blue, and a faded blue. It's coming. And there's a lot of it's coming. And what for me now that I'm looking back now, a bit of a red flag was that like that's a lot of it's coming all at once. So I'm like, okay.
Interesting.
I don't know whose jurisdiction that really falls under because I don't really follow politics like that. I know that there was supposed to be some type of infrastructure bill that happened. I know that the city tries to allocate that, and I'm thinking like, I know my taxes go for the fundamentals, potholes, fire, police, all that stuff. But then I'm thinking like, don't we pay towards having the infrastructure for like, if you can get a free cell phone in today's day, then I feel like we should also have the accessibility to have the option to get fiber. I'm getting by and I'm doing well just fine without it, but I do need it. And people who work from home, as we've learned now post-COVID that there are more, teleworking positions. That has become more of a necessity. And I do believe that Colorado Springs is aware of that, and that's why there's a lot of coming soons.
Yeah.
I don't know what it looks like now, but I do see in my own anecdotal evidence here, my neighborhood is literally getting the cables installed as we speak.
Interesting.
So
well, that's a good note for me, just, because I do have a lot of clients that move here that are also going to be working from home, which is why they're choosing to move here. And so, I'll add that into my little buyer's packet that we send out. We always send out this like little informational buyer's packet, like
Love
market, a bunch of, relevant websites. I'm going to add a link in there that like fiber internet map so that people can kind of also like if they need to base their decision based off of that, it's just included. It's smart. Top three.
Bing
bong.
And this one we can all relate to in some way, shape, or form. Because part of, beauty is pain. Because everything is so open out here and we get beautiful views of the Front Range. That comes at a cost of everything is blinding me at golden hour. And context, I live on the east side. So everything is west from here for me. And I think, cool, my wife's home from work, my son's getting a little circuit, we're getting out of the house, we're gonna go grocery shopping, to the park, literally anything. We're gonna go bug Kyle. No matter what, the moment I get on the road and I just pull right out, my eyes! And you can't, I'm a short guy, so I bring my seat up, I do everything I can. This is why this is why the drivers are terrible because we're all
can't see.
We're all miserable.
Oh yeah.
And I'm getting angry because I'm like, I can't see. Is that light red? I don't know. I'm just gonna risk it. It sucks. It's really rough, and there's nothing you can prepare for it or do. I got everything. It's just it's a bit rough, but if you can just block out that golden hour part, don't drive during golden hour. Be there before or after.
I've never heard anybody say this before. It is true though. That because it's like right over the mountains, and it's like your eyes are just like drawn to the mountains too, and so it do be blinding like that. And if you don't have windshield wiper cleaner stuff, like, and your windshield is dirty, bro, you can't see anything.
After a snow day?
Oh no, you can't see anything, bro.
No. Yeah, that's rough.
That's
that was
a
rough.
really wild one.
Yeah, I noticed that you guys had never brought that up, and maybe because, Earth's rotation, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Fair. But holy moly, just, again, I think the underlying theme for all this is just proper preparation for this stuff. Be there before golden hour, or you wait until afterwards, because you are, it's bad. It's really bad. Okay, number 2. This is not a very novel idea. I know you've talked about it, especially you, and I was aware of it. But it's a little different when you're in it. Number 2, kind of a little heavy-handed on the fast food chains.
Oh, yeah.
NGL.
Yep.
It is, one thing that from a population of like San Diego or Southern California, one thing that credit where credit is due, we have so many little mama papa shops of everything. It's Mexican, you will never beat San Diego food. That's the hill I die on. Tex-Mex, what? No, but even just the culture, because we're by an ocean, so we eat a lot of seafood. Like everything was, I was spoiled there. Going to the East Coast, same but different. Same but different.
Sure.
Coming here, admittedly, even though I was premeditatedly prepared from your guys' videos that like, okay, fast food chains, big whoop, whatever. But it do be a bit rough about me wanting to like, I want something authentic. Somebody that I can see the owner, shake their hand, this food was good, thank you, sir.
Oh, okay, so first of all, he's not lying. It is a lot, it is overwhelmingly not even fast food, just chain. Yeah, fast food is not the right word, but it's overwhelmingly chain restaurants. But on that point that you just made, there is a new Indian restaurant here called Mausam, and it is awesome. I thought you'd get it. Yeah, so it's called Mausam or Masam. I don't know how you say it, but and the chef. So it's like right between. So you take Colorado Avenue like you're going to Manitou Springs, and it's like it's in an old like Denny's is what it looks like. It's like the building is very unassuming, but the chef. So they've only been open for a couple months. The chef, his name's Dharam Singh. He is a Michelin star chef, 2 years in a row. And this man catered for the Prime Minister of India.
Whoa!
Yeah, dude, we went there. This is non-standard, but the cheesy naan bread was godlike.
Oh man,
it was unbelievable. Like you
were the Prime Minister that day.
Oh, bro, for sure. We got the chicken tikka masala.
Yes,
and the chicken was like tender and beautiful. Now, I will say, I do wish that there was more chicken in it, but it was so good, and it's really fancy inside. Like all the seats are like embroidered. They're like these beautiful orange seats that kind of like they almost look like race car like bucket seats almost. Like it's a very cozy place. They got fancy glasses. They do all the alcohol is like from India, so like all the whiskey, all the scotch, everything is like Indian. It is so good. But on that note, really, you kind of have to go to the downtown area to get like. More of the like local eateries that are like done by locals and not like big chains. So if you go up north towards Monument, Briargate, Northgate, that area, it is overwhelmingly chains.
Yes.
I mean, 98% is probably an accurate number.
Interquest, that whole strip.
There's not a single not chain there that I can think of. Yeah, that I can think of. Maybe Mission Barbecue.
No, that's a chain.
Is it a chain?
It's a chain because I have it in Virginia, and they're based out of North Carolina or Texas. Yeah. No, I'm not saying literally, metaphorically. Literally right now, Interquest is your every what people make fun of America for in the U.S. for that exit. Man, I'm road tripping, got to get off an exit. Interquest.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. So really, the downtown area, Old Colorado City, downtown like Tejon. Do you have any? On a positive note, though, are there any that stand out as like places that you do like?
For chains?
No.
Okay, good.
God, no. Local eateries.
So
if people are watching, they need to know where to eat.
All right. I wanted to say, I didn't even know you were going to bring up this Indian food thing, so I don't want to even use mine, but I did go to one that's off of Austin Bluffs. It was a highly starred, like a lot of reviews. When I'm looking up for food, I'm not looking necessarily at the stars, but I'm looking at the reviews and I'm reading it. And if it doesn't have like 3 stars or 4 stars, like I read why. It's just like, oh, it took too long. It's like, well, maybe because the food's good.
Or maybe it was just a bad day. Shut up.
That's fine. Yeah, but if they're like, I found a roach in my food, like I want to know that.
Yeah.
Right. So. There was a place off of Austin's, but it's the only Indian place at the time that I thoroughly enjoyed. But now I feel like it's outshined by a Michelin star chef. Yeah. I will say, coming from...
What was it called?
I will let you know. I don't remember at this exact moment.
Okay, look it up.
We'll look it up. While I do that, I will say, coming from San Diego, okay, I wear that badge proud. If you haven't noticed, I will tell you that people are kind of underselling the West Coast style Mexican food out here. I've had some pretty decent Mexican food.
Yeah.
If you are coming, like military wise, if you're coming from Southern California, leave the expectation of that. I want that everywhere. Leave it at the door, okay?
Yeah.
If you put that to the side, you come here and like, I'm going to try these actual local like taco shops.
Yeah.
Meeting Mauricio's, fuego. That amazing burritos.
Okay.
I just went to a place yesterday, right by Target out here off of Powers, and it was pretty decent food. I like that we are breaking away from Tex-Mex. And what I mean by Tex-Mex, and this is a preference thing, a lot of people want a hard shell with lettuce and cheese on their shredded beef.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's not Mexican. That's
Right.
Tex-Mex, which is a form of Mex, but I like Mex-Mex, okay? Baja California, all right? I'm all the way. So I'm seeing more West Coast influence, not fusion, actual influence of people coming from west of Chihuahua, and they're coming out here. So especially from like Baja, they move out here, or their family restaurant, or whatever the case may be, and my favorite food is Mexican, and it's a very humble, because it's a hole in the wall that you would see in a shopping center, and if you can't tell if they're open or not, you need to try that place.
Yeah.
They're not trying to sell you on neon signs. Go in there and try it. And I'm appreciating a lot of the carne asada food that's out here, whether it's in the carne asada burrito, carne asada fries. They even do California burritos, all that stuff. Fuego.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a video we just did. So where we lack maybe on restaurants, we make up for in breweries.
Oh.
We got hella breweries out here. We got like 37, I think, was the last count that we did. And we did a whole video on that. So if you just want to be purely entertained, go watch our brewery tour video. We'll link it somewhere up here or whatever. But we went to 5 of the best breweries in Colorado Springs, all the way from the south, all the way up to the north of Colorado Springs, and it was a riot. It was so much fun. But we do have, and we're going to do a burger tour, because like you ask me this all the time. You're like, where's the best burger? Where's the best brunch?
Yeah.
What's the best pizza?
Yep.
What's the best this? So we're working on that video series as well. So make sure you subscribe so that you can see those, because those are actually kind of the most fun, because we get to just be out with people and meet shop owners and stuff like that. But also, that's important information.
It is.
In the downtown area, I'm going to give a couple shout outs real quick. I love the Exchange on Tejon. It's right by Kawadi. Well, it's actually kind of in a little nook where there's a lot of really good places. Fat Sully's, great pizza. Denver Biscuit Company, which like, it's a kind of a morning and afternoon, like Swaparooski. And then you got the Exchange, which is like, it almost kind of feels like brunch all day, but there's like good lunches, good sandwiches, really good coffee, drinks, and stuff like that. Then you got Kawadi, that's like a little cafeteria area. Oh my God, they have this bulgogi cheesesteak sandwich in there. There's this like, little Korean spot called Anju that's in there. So freaking good. So there are a lot of like really cool spots in the downtown area. And almost like, I would say all of them you could just like pop into and you're like, oh, this is good. Like everything in the downtown area. But it's like, it's just kind of annoying that it's like just downtown.
Yeah.
So like if you live on the east side of town, or you live in like the northeast, like BLR, like Ben and Lewis Ranch, you live like way up there, like God, Jack's, not Jack's Seafood that's downtown, but there's like a Jack's like brewery or something like that that's like up northeast, but there's like, so that's definitely a problem.
I want to break from our list for a second. I just want to ask you, as a people who are listening to this or watching this, I want to reward them with a honest behind the curtain question.
Oh
here.
yeah, hit me.
When you did the brewery tour, context, if you didn't watch the video, Kyle doesn't drink beer, or he's not a beer drinker, excuse me.
Yeah.
Honest feedback. It's just you and me talking right now. How was that whole excursion? Was it?
I'm totally open to like, I'll try anything, right? And so like
At least twice.
Yeah, at least twice. So it was a lot of me just like having smaller sips, and because like I know pretty quick, like, oh, I'm not gonna like this. But there were definitely a handful of beers. It was funny because I started the day with like seltzers. I was like, because I think that's also important to know, like, most of these breweries do have like a seltzer that they do.
My wife loves those.
Yeah, and so it's like, well, I guess I'll just be the guy that tests those, because Chris also doesn't really like beer that much either. So but Sam and Francis love beer. So you definitely get kind of like the perspective, but there were definitely a couple breweries that we went to that had beers that they did there that were like, oh, I could for sure drink this. But it wasn't like Francis's experience throughout that day, which was, that man drank a lot of beer that day.
Yeah, he did?
He drank a lot of beer, and it showed, but he had a damn good time.
Yes, he did.
It was awesome.
We need to do more of these.
Yeah.
The Indian food that's off of Austin Bluffs is called Pakwan.
Pakwan. Oh,
Pakwan.
Interesting. I've never even heard of that place.
Yeah. Yeah. And that photo right there sold me on
Pakwan. Okay.
it. It is.
Sweet.
It
Pakwan.
was very
I'm
good.
gonna have to go there.
Yeah. They
All
give
right.
you the whole thing. All right. We worked all the way up to this. Number one. Numero uno.
We've had some really good ones, so I'm curious to hear what your number one is in a top-down countdown.
Okay. And maybe people thought this would come on the list, or they thought it would be sooner, or maybe omit it. We have to talk about the bipolar weather out here.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I need to talk to you from the perspective of a marketing lie.
Okay.
Because you even sold me on it too. And a little disclaimer, my brother's been out here since 2019, so I knew the truth, but I still, knowing it and being in it, two different things.
Go ahead.
Come to Colorado Springs, 300 days of sun. Light. It should be with an asterisk on all these things.
Okay, that's true.
Because, yes, flowers where flowers are due. We get way more sunny days here than, say, really anywhere out west on the other side of the Rockies, or even heading out east. You know, we actually have very bright, as I was complaining with the sun, we actually have a lot of sunny days. But within those 300 days of sunny days, we don't talk about the random that I'm still not used to. You don't like the weather, give it 20 minutes. Facts.
Yeah.
Because I'm going like, hey, weather's looking nice. I'm gonna take my kid to the park. He wants to run around. He's stir crazy.
Yep.
I go out there, swear to God, true story that happened 2 weeks ago. I go to the dog park that's right by my house so I can get my poor dog out of the house as well.
Mm-hmm.
What a beautiful day. Winter's over. Let's go play. I get out there, and the moment God saw me put my right foot on the grass, let's go. Let's go. Get in the car. This was a mistake.
Yep.
I get home. Immediately, I'm like, what is happening right now?
Dude, it's crazy. So this actually just happened to us. So we got married this last weekend, right? Like I told you. Cash, zoom in. It's there.
Ooh, is that mahogany?
Nobody ever asked to see the dude's ring.
I know.
It's like, what the heck?
I went out of my way to put the black one on, too.
Yeah, like, everyone always wants to see her ring, and I'm like, what about mine? Anyway.
I'm married, too.
But, so we got married and had our reception in Woodland Park, and we were like setting up, it was like 4 o'clock, taking all the food down. It was like kind of a steep staircase. We had this little pond down there. It was super cute, little fire pit. And so we were like taking all the food down, and the sky was like a little dark, and then it like sprinkled, and then it like downpoured for like 7 minutes. And like I was standing there, and it was like, I felt very unconfident saying this to people, but I was like, this is probably gonna be like 7 or 8 minutes. Like, it's fine. Like, I know it sucks. Just
Sweat
everybody come
starts
in,
to form.
but I'm like, but what if I'm wrong this time? What if this is suddenly Seattle and like it's just gonna rain all night, which like literally never happens here.
Right.
But and it happened. 7 minutes went by, and then it kind of like cleared up, and then the sun came out,
Yeah.
and it was fine. But that is very, very common out here.
I will tell you that part of the sunny day statistic that we're fed happens during a snow day as well.
Oh yeah.
And when we first got out here, I moved out here in the brutal cold of winter, February.
Yeah.
And so I got all that good right on my face. And what was mind-blowing is as quickly as the good weather can leave, the bad weather leaves just as quickly.
Yep.
And people thought I was manipulating, lying, or misleading on my Instagram story when I had filmed that like snow's coming down and I show my car just starting to get like a couple inches and I said this is like the third snow day that we had finally got through, or not the day, but like that session of snow that we got. So I said on my stars like, this will be gone within less than 2 hours, I guarantee it. And people responded to my Instagram, it's so cold over there, it looks so bad. And they're thinking like I'm talking about like Chicago or something, right? And I go, no. I film again 2 hours, and right when I open it, and sun, airplanes are flying over and I'm just like,
it's crazy, and like what you learn is that you just have to kind of adjust accordingly. Yeah. Right? You have to So especially spring and summer, because that's when most people are like truly wanting to like really obviously enjoy Colorado. And especially if you're going to the mountains, this is even more paramount. But you just have to start your day early. Now the crazy thing out here is that like right now, like it is bright at 6 o'clock in the morning and it gets dark at like 9 p.m., right? And so it's awesome. So you have a really long window, which by the way is opposite in the winter. It's like, dark at 5 p.m. But in the summer months, you just have to start, like if you have outdoor activities, you really have to plan them, which is why we planned our wedding. We were like, the wedding ceremony itself is going to happen no later than 1 o'clock.
Right.
Because we just couldn't risk the afternoon thunderstorms. Very, very common. It builds up over the mountains and you see it happening and it'll be like snowing and dumping on Pikes Peak and then it'll just kind of start moving northeast through the city. So you really have to like plan if you're going to do a mountain as an example, like I have to be to the summit of that mountain by like 10 a.m.
I've seen you do that.
Yeah, so that I can also then work my way back down because and like we'll be coming down and we'll see people on like the first half. And we're like getting off the mountain and I'm like, have you guys not looked at the mountain weather? It's gonna storm and you're gonna be on top of this mountain and probably die. So, but also just if you wanna play volleyball or you wanna play spike ball at the park or you wanna take your kid to the park, you just kinda have to know that there's probably a period there. By the way, also, the weather app has no idea what's gonna happen.
Facts.
And so all you people, by the way, I'm looking right at you, all you people that are like, well, the climate's changing, and if we don't do this, then 2030 is going to be X, Y, or Z. Shut up. The weather can't even tell me what it's going to be in 2 hours. Yeah. You have no clue what it's going to be in 2030. So shut up. I don't want to hear about it. That being said, don't litter, and take care of the earth, and leave no trace, and clean up, and like be a good human. But don't try to tell me what's going to happen in 2030. Because I don't even know what's going to happen at 20:30 tonight.
It probably rained.
Good.
Dude, that was
actually really good.
That was smooth. Oh my God. It probably rained while we were doing this.
Probably, yeah.
And we wouldn't even know because it dried up so quickly. Yep. Beauty of the no humidity.
Yeah, no,
everything's gone.
I love it. Yeah.
So you got to take the good with the bad. And I think looking back, not really understanding how I was observing Colorado, it is genuinely just preparation. If we just, I
Which
understand
is why we made
now,
this video.
Bring a jacket in your car, even if it's
always
80. It is 74 right now, and I just don't trust it.
Yep.
Always have something ready to go. And the reason why I like Colorado genuinely is I love doing layers where I can take some on or take some off, and however that may go, and I can adjust to what's happening during that day. Because when you are in the sticky south of the U.S., there's no amount of declothing before you get arrested, one. And two, you're still not going to be comfortable, but you can always layer up, even in the wintertime, which is why I kind of like winter a little bit more in that sense. But as long as we can prepare and be mentally ready for the traffic, the weather, golden hour, any of that stuff, get into the food, as long as we have a game plan with it, you could wing it. I'm a winging it kind of guy. I don't like scripts for one. I like, hey, we're gonna go out to Buena Vista. What's good out there?
Yeah. So if you are moving to Colorado Springs or thinking about moving to Colorado Springs, this is the channel for you. There we have the most comprehensive, in fact, probably the only real good playlist of all neighborhoods in Colorado Springs. That's super important because people want to see. They don't just want to like read stuff on niche.com. They want to see what it looks like, what it feels like. And we do everything. We talk about schools, we talk about amenities, pros, cons, ups, downs, all the good, all the bad. We've got a huge playlist, so make sure you subscribe to the channel because we're constantly updating that to make sure that you can stay on top of it.
This has been fun.
Yeah, awesome. So thank you for watching. If you are moving out here, feel free to reach out, call, text, email, whatever. Send a carrier pigeon, I don't care. But definitely reach out to us and we will see you on the other side.